The woman who walked through the frame. August 1990. Kraków sweated gently under a curtain of sun and soft exhaust. The cobblestones of Florianska Street held the day's heat like secrets. I remember the way it shimmered that day, like the city itself was unsure whether it wanted to be remembered or forgotten. I didn't speak a word of Polish then, not a syllable. Now I can say światło and cień, and sometimes they seem enough. Light and shadow. They were everywhere that afternoon. I was only visiting, with an old Praktica camera strung around my neck and a curiosity fed by novels and Cold War documentaries. I'd just passed through the Brama Florianska, unaware that I was stepping into a kind of novel I wouldn't realize I was in until decades later, one in which I wasn't the author. That was when I saw them, two soldiers in olive green uniforms, their backs ramrod straight, hats in their hands. They walked as if the street still belonged to them, as if the world hadn't just cracked open with revolution less than a year earlier. The Cold War had thawed, but no one had told their boots. And then there was her. She came from the opposite direction, moving against the current of people with a grace that carved space out of the chaos. A long, pale skirt swayed around her calves, and she carried plastic bags in each hand like makeshift weights, anchoring her to a world that couldn't quite contain her. Her blouse was the colour of stormy violets, patterned with letters or symbols I didn't understand then, still don't. A small thing, but unforgettable. She was biting her lip, like she had just thought of something too dangerous to say. She walked straight toward me. For a brief moment, the street silenced itself. A frame clicked in my mind. Not the camera, my mind. The part of me that would later write, would later try to remember. She passed so close I could smell laundry powder and warm plastic. Her eyes flicked toward mine. A spark, not recognition, but something more ancient. She wasn't smiling. That would have made it ordinary. She looked through me into some other life where we had already spoken. In that other life, I said something in Polish, something elegant or poetic or simply honest. I don't want to forget this. But in this life, I said nothing. I had no words yet, only questions, and my tongue was useless in this land of hard continents and buried sorrow. I turned to follow her, but she was already lost in the crush of afternoon. I don't remember if I took the photo then or later. Maybe I invented it later, trying to seal her into the page. Some part of me insists it happened. The shutter blinked, the film wound on, and her image was trapped between two soldiers and 1,000 unspoken possibilities. Years passed. I learned Polish. I walked Florianska again many times. The building stayed, the light changed, the tourists multiplied, and the uniforms vanished. But she never returned. Not in dreams, not in crowds, not even in the deep scrolls of my memory, when I beg them to yield more than they can. I keep the photo anyway, because in fiction, memory becomes architecture. We build rooms for the moments that slipped past. We furnish them with the details we might have misunderstood. And sometimes we leave the door open for someone who walked through once and never again. I write this now, not as closure, but as invitation. If she reads English, if she remembers that hot day, if she ever walked through that frame at all.